Hey everyone, what is going on? So yesterday on Instagram and Facebook, I actually posted on Instagram in my story. I asked you guys the question of like, hey, what kind of obstacles are you guys facing and what kind of questions do you have on this business model? So like, I can go over it in a video like this and cover every single question, obstacle you guys are stuck with, you guys and girls. And then on Facebook, I did the same thing. So today I'm gonna be covering all the compoundment of the questions and obstacles I've received and make sure I can help as many people as I possibly can by, going in depth and detailed on your guys' questions. So I'm gonna be starting off with Instagram and like the story replies I've gotten. So the first one is from Robert. So he asked me, Bas, what are some questions to ask clients in a meeting? The exact formula, and that was kind of like his question because he said something at the end which was like kind of confusing, so I'm gonna be leaving that out. But essentially questions to ask a client in a meeting. So I guess that, giving you a structure of a meeting would help you first and actually what to do beforehand instead of like just script, right? Because I look at sales kind of like more in depth because really I know that my sales is only good at a certain time of the day when I have a lot of energy and it's afternoon, right? That's what I know for myself because then like I'm in an intermittent fasting state, I'm in a caffeinated state. I just feel really energetic just because I haven't ate food yet, stuff like that. And also I have like kind of a pre-ritual for sales, right? So I'm just like gonna read the bullet outline for you guys. So the first thing is motion creates emotion. So every single 10 minutes before a sales call, and my girlfriend actually does this as well, is I do like 20 jumping jacks, 10 squats, and I literally slam myself on the chest just to get like the juices flowing and get myself amped up and energetic. Because if you just sit all day and you just like do that for hours and hours and wait till your call like comes up, it kind of like puts you in a lazy state, less energetic. And I kind of like found it reflecting in my sales call and found a huge difference when I like did some motion and created emotion before my sales call and saw like reflected energy back into it, which led to a close most of the times. And then also losing all emotional baggage from the day, right? So maybe beforehand you had like a bad sales call or like something bad happened, and if you keep this in your state of mind, it will reflect back on the way you talk, just because you may not be in a good mindset, right? Because you had maybe a bad sales call and didn't go the way you planned it out to go, but you really have to lose that. You can like take that in you with you as a reference point into that call, because the exact same thing may happen if you do so, right? And also another thing that I just have like written down is be energetic, be certain in what you say, and generally want to help the other person. As people can tell like whether you're kind of like a fake or a guru just by the way you talk and treat people, right? So you want to be genuine, right? And I always like make sure I'm energetic, I'm certain, and also I like get a pen and notepad ready. And on my desktop, when I arrive at a sales call, I have nothing but Zoom open, no social media. Like there's no phone next to me. It's literally just me listening to the prospect with a pen and paper, good headphones, good Wi-Fi, and just making sure I can listen and diagnose your problem and provide my solution to it, right? If it's a good fit. And then to get back to like, your niche specific questions, right? So instead of cookie cutter questions, because a lot of people, join a social media marketing course and they literally never ever even edit the questions within that script. But I think that's also because a lot of teachers don't explain, that's the way you should go. Right, so since I help plastic surgeons, which often of the times have a clinic, I usually say stuff like, so I want to know about your clinic, the challenges you face, what's right in your business, what's wrong in your business, and then based on what we do there is we tailor our strategies based on your needs, right? Instead of, what is your monthly revenue? Or like, well, okay, and what is your target monthly revenue? What is stopping you from getting there, right? It's like so cookie cutter, and I think like most of the business owners have already gone through like a process like that, because an agency, it's like been out for years and years now, and I think like a lot of business owners are familiar with like a sales process like that. And if they've been burned by such a person asking such questions, and you ask similar questions, it's not most ideal for you. And I think like just going that extra mile by asking niche specific questions is just both better for both parties, right? It just shows like that you care for the people you're actually helping, by not having cookie cutter questions, and it just makes you sound more professional. And the other person on the phone, on the other side of the phone, just feels like they're getting taken more serious, right? Instead of like just cookie cutter questions. But I'm not gonna go in super depth with sales because it's like a huge topic. It's not complicated, but like there's a lot to talk about. So I'm gonna be diving over into the next question. So Digital Anas asked, so how do you deliver results and systemize it? Great question. So for myself, before you look at that, you have to clearly know who you're helping, right? So define your niche And after you've defined your niche, you want to look for a deep market need that's worth solving. Or simply, instead of like offering just a patient, you offer the most ideal patient and, reverse engineer your way to actually deliver on that and make it a predictable way around it that you can systemize, right? So for instance, I help plastic surgeons get new breast augmentation patients, right? Because they're minimal in terms of time, they're the most high ticket, and it's just their ideal client. So what I've done is I made sure that it's as transparent as possible, as systemized as possible. So I'm using a software that gives them a dashboard, and also what it does for the leads. Like I can literally go down to my pitch and say like kind of what is included. So there's a pre-qualification process we put in place, right? We make sure they're a good fit, and we ask like really niche pre-qualification questions, right? So what is your credit score? Do you have any medical issues? What is your BMI, etc., etc.? Like that is for plastic surgeons, right? And then we also mentioned we have an automated system, a dashboard, which they will have access to for transparency, right? On everything that's coming in. And then essentially, what happens is we also the system calls the leads, right? And we leave a voicemail with their voice, right, of the business owner. And essentially when people call back to that number, it automatically gets rerouted to their phone, which is just awesome because then he's getting inbound calls that literally set up appointments with his clinic, right? Because that's like what he's mentioning in this pre-recorded message that is being sent out to people through us. And essentially just like showcasing how much time we're saving. So I made a result-based offer and then made like an actual predictable way to deliver on it, and now systemized it, right, by simply having a contractor in place and knowing exactly how to onboard them and also like how to consistently just deliver on those results that the business owner wants to see, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. They don't really care about the nitty-gritty, right? It's just about the end result. Just take that into account. But again, back to another question. So could you make a video on what to talk about when you are in a meeting? So you have to know that strategy sessions are intent driven, right? It's like people set time aside and they are interested in what you have to offer, right? Just take that into account. It's like them being in a supermarket with their wallet ready, but they're just waiting for it to make sense to take the card out and purchase it, right? And you just have to show them that it's worth purchasing and how it's applicable to them and that it's actually a good fit, right? So just stuff like that. So what you talk about in a meeting is, first of all, so I can just give you a little bit of an outline. So asking them why they're on a call, what are they looking to get out of it, right? Maybe, because this is also what a lot of people do. They set a meeting with the wrong frame behind it. They say can you take on more, can you take on 10 to 20 new customers? I have customers that want to enter your business. And then on a meeting, people are just confused because your outreach was not intent driven. It's just getting a meeting just for the sake of getting a meeting, and that will lose your opportunity to convert that meeting into a sale because you set the wrong frame by just getting a meeting for the sake of getting a meeting. And I think the new people won't really understand what I mean with this, but I think people who are more into this for a month or two or multiple months or years know exactly what I mean. But essentially going over that, right? So seeing why they're on a meeting, and then making sure you have the frame, right? You want to be asking them questions and not the other way around. So I'm just gonna mention a few questions that I ask usually. So real quick though, can I ask you a few questions so we can be as efficient as possible today, right? And then I go ahead, dive into my questions and make it sound casual instead of yeah, so I'm gonna be taking 40 minutes to ask you all these questions, right? Instead I say just real quick though, can I ask you a few questions so we can be as efficient as possible today, right? And then I dive into it. And I don't read it off word by word. It's just a script is there to serve as a structure, right? So what I say, for instance, at the beginning is, so awesome, so I know you're a busy person and you get reached out to a lot. So that made me curious as to why you responded to me. What piqued your interest, right? And that's why you don't want to have a bad frame up front, right? So that is that. And then I want to know more about their clinic, their business, and then finding the root of the issue that they're having, right? And then I'm looking at the current client acquisition system, so asking questions about that. And then asking, this is a big one, asking what they've done in the past. Maybe they've worked with a marketing agency, right? And if that has happened, you want to know if it was a good or bad experience. And if it was a bad experience, you want to know exactly why they felt it was bad. And then when you go for the pitch, you can tell them okay, and I know you've worked with this marketing agency in the past, right? And they've burned you on this and this and that. And I just want to tell you up front that that is not what we do. What we do instead, and then you disclose the offer one step at a time, right? And then like a lot of other questions. But guys, once again, sales is once again a huge topic. I probably will make a separate video about this, but I'm gonna move on with the questions. So Ahmed says, how do you get clients? Well, I can answer it just in one word, but I'll give you more context. So outreach, right? But the thing is, and this gets taught wrong often in the industry, is getting your fundamentals in place. So knowing knowing who you are helping, knowing what you're offering, and having a predictable way around it to deliver on it, right? So if you know what the market needs, it means they resonate with it because you've done your market research and you know the needs, you understand it, or like a deeper desire they have. So like a breast augmentation patient for a plastic surgeon is a deep desire they have. It's like your ideal patient, and therefore, if you include your result-based offer within your outreach message, it will resonate, and therefore get more meetings with ease, right? Because you understand what the market needs, and it kind of like just feeds off each other, right? The power of it, from the fundamentals to the outreach, it really just feeds off each other. And often of the times, people don't even have the fundamentals in place and just talk about their Facebook ads, how awesome it is, and that they can make them money, right? But I'm not gonna go too in depth with that. So outreach, I would say LinkedIn, email, and a method I'm not gonna mention because I only teach it to my students, but LinkedIn and email work great. Everything essentially works. You just need to know who you're helping and find resonation within the market when you're doing your outreach, right? You can't shove your service down someone's throat if they don't need it, right? It just doesn't work like that. And yeah, so let me just move forward. So finding leads and getting clients signed and getting clients. Finding leads and getting clients. So I would actually say the same thing. How to stop procrastinating, from Eli. So if you are doing some work and you feel like you're being pulled away from it because your body is telling you, oh, I need to eat some food, or I need to go outside, or I need to play a video game, whatever it may be, do the opposite. Go back to what you were doing, and you have to kind of resist impulses all the time, because the reason we procrastinate is because in this current society with like a lot of the instant gratification we have, it's easy to not resist impulses and just go ahead and do something else. And then five seconds later wondering like, oh, wait, like how the hell did I get here, right? Because we are not good at resisting our impulses naturally, which, like checking our phone often and like eating, like a snack or craving sugars, stuff like that. It's just, it requires, I would say, some willpower, a consistent amount of willpower where you resist impulses, right? So, and I would also say, know your objectives, know what you're working towards to do, and know exactly what you have to do. Because often of the times when things get hard and we get confronted with like our objective, and we don't like forefront the daily actions we have to take to get there, then during the moment you're doing your work, that's when you're thinking about like, oh, what do I have to do, and you can like figure it out, and then you're just like, oh, you know what, I should probably just go ahead and do something else, which is like going outside, take a walk. And I guess like just knowing your objective, knowing exactly what to do, planning it up front, and just doing it. It's that easy. Hope that helped, by the way. So Phil says, the fear of not delivering results for clients with Facebook ads is keeping me from doing my outreach. Right. So know for a fact when you have made your offer, it's never like, in theory and practical sense side of things are two completely different things. So just know, once you go out there, just accept that it may not be perfect, right? But it's also not gonna be horrible at the same time. It's like you just get better and better by understanding what you learn from those experiences. If it doesn't go well, right? Then like, oh, okay, so this didn't go well, and this is like what I have to do next time to avoid that. And therefore, by fixing that, it will go well next time, right? So it's really just a matter of stop creating what-if scenarios in your head, and really just going out there and doing it with your first hypothesis of your result-based offer, and reiterating and improving every single time whenever a client says like, oh, okay, I feel like this is missing, and if you feel like other clients keep telling you that too, then add it into the system and reiterate and improve your hypothesis every single time, and make sure you get the best offer, in the segment of the market you're helping, right? So I guess it's also just a matter of doing it and stop overthinking. But also just accepting the fact that if things go wrong, they go wrong. But also knowing for a fact that if they go wrong, they won't go wrong the next time, because you know what went wrong, and therefore it won't go wrong again, because you reiterate and improve based on that feedback. So, and then getting over the enormous obstacle of getting that first client. Oh God. Getting over the enormous obstacle of getting that first client. What obstacle? It's just get your fundamentals in place, do your outreach, right? And this is just theory, but then reverse engineer what you have to do exactly and just do it. because it doesn't give me a lot of context if you just say like the enormous obstacle. Like you have to let me know like what an enormous obstacle is, right? Not to be cocky or anything, but I don't like being around the bush. I love you guys though, but yeah. So let me just move on to the next question. So when onboarding a new client, do you have them pay for softwares? No, I don't. It's all like business expense, and I don't let my clients pay for software. It's like if they do need like another service though, which I would upsell them onto, it's like that service, but not like a separate software or something like that. It's essentially like onboarding funnel, get onboarded, know what you need to know the expectations, and that's kind of it. Just to like briefly outline it for you guys. I don't know how to start or how to enter the game. I have the wisdom, but I have also fear that's holding me back. But yeah, right. So I guess that's more so like a mindset thing instead of like a business thing, right? And that's like why I love talking about mindset. But I need more context when it comes down to this, right? It's really hard for me to like give you solid advice if you don't like tell me what root is. Like, because now I have to diagnose root with only so much context, right? So I don't know how to start or how to enter the game. So I would really suggest, because I started back in June actually. I know like my official starting point when I went really hard was in December, but I originally started in June 2018 with a mentor. I'm not gonna say his name, but basically I didn't understand the terminology he was using and things he was referring to, because I never, had like any, like I didn't know the business model. He said like he was gonna teach me it, but I only got an understanding of the business model when I went through a course, right? So I would essentially say start with a course, get an understanding of the business model, or consume YouTube content on the course, on the business model, and through that you can start understanding it. But then again, I would say just start, man. Like it's like so many what if scenarios, right? But know that it's like a black hole, and you should only confront a what if scenario if it actually becomes reality, right? So I'm just gonna move on to the next one. So the fear of not bringing value to my clients. So if you have a result-based offer and you've done your market research, and based on the market research, you have the conclusion that, they need a result-based offer you're bringing them, then you're bringing them value. So therefore you don't really have to be worried about not bringing value to your clients. But maybe it's like not being confident in the result delivery. And I would say the exact same thing as I said like 4 minutes ago, right? So I hope that helps. Outreach, I really dislike cold calling, etc. Okay? I don't like cold calling either, it's like shit. But outreach, okay, so in terms of outreach, I would really think again back to like when I talked about the fundamentals like a few minutes ago, but then also, as I said, LinkedIn works really well, right? And they just feed off each other on fundamentals and outreach. So I would suggest LinkedIn, Facebook, just like adding I'm just like gonna give you guys some more actionable stuff. So when it comes down to Facebook, I would say join 5 to 10 niche focused Facebook groups, the niche you're like targeting, and add 20 people every single day and start a conversation, right? And simply go ahead, build a relationship. Or you can use like the client research strategy that I have on my channel, which is called an outreach method that should be illegal on my YouTube, and use that on Facebook. And on LinkedIn, I'd say go on weconnect.io. So it's like an iCloud software that you can use, which is outside of LinkedIn, because if you use an extension, it's just more dangerous for your account, and extensions are probably gonna be gone within the next 12 months. So that's it when it comes down to LinkedIn. And I also have like a cheat sheet you can use and literally plug and play within your weconnect.io sequences, right? And then when it comes down to cold email, I'm actually gonna be making a separate outreach video for you guys, not as in-depth as inside my course, but I'll still like give you guys the actionable stuff you need. So yeah, I would say just look at that. There's so many options you can work with, but I would say stick to 3 max, but also know for a fact that most of the results you're gonna be seeing is a reflection of how well you've put your own fundamentals in place, okay? So, Stefano, what to do if you don't know how to do SEO and it's asked by a potential client? Well, get a contractor. What service to offer? Do I do Facebook ads, SEO, Google ads, words, ClickFunnels? Stefano again. Well, determine what you want to offer first, and based on that, look at what you need to make that result-based offer a reality, and then only use those services, and get a contractor. Automated lead gen. Not enough context for me to cover it. Let's see, finding a new niche. Okay, so when we're talking about niches, right? I would say you can literally go on Google, right? And I can vouch for this guy. I've learned a lot from him, Sam Ovens. Download his top 100 niche list, just take a look. Just put in like binaural beats, like focus binaural beats, and see which tree strike your nerve and you can get off your mind. Write those three down, and then do market research in all three, and then decide on one which you want to go with, and then simply go ahead and pick one and make a result-based offer. Okay. So then we have pros and cons: local clients versus international clients. I'd say if you're good at English, go international. You know, there's not a good enough a reason to not go, you know, international. It's like just more opportunity. That's the way I see it. However, what I do also see is with some of my like new students, they said like, yeah, man, so I'm helping the Dutch market now because my funnel is in Dutch, right? I'm like, dude, you can just translate that. Like that variable shouldn't be strong enough to like limit you from all that opportunity because your English is good. So why would you just stay with the Dutch market just because your funnel is in Dutch, right? It just doesn't make sense. And he was like, yeah, you're right, doesn't make sense. Right? So, yeah, but I'm not gonna mention his name. He's like a really smart guy. But right now I'm gonna be going over another few questions that I had on Facebook. Just make sure I cover, you know, everything. So basically, how does your marketing funnel look like for your clients? I'm interested, for example, how your Facebook ads landing page system basically work to attract ideal patients to the clinics you work with. Sure, man. So essentially my contractor builds my funnels. He also does my ads. He actually takes like the whole workload off my hands. But what I do monitor like the software we do use. I'm not gonna mention its name again. Sorry, I give a lot of value, but like I don't want to give like, you know, course content in like my free videos. But essentially what I do, I have my contractor take care of the ads, take care of the funnels. You know, and as I mentioned with the structure that I have for my result-based offer, I make sure it's all implemented, right? It's not like any guesswork or like, you know, some lucky great offer. It's something that like I've reverse engineered and determined like what the market needs. And essentially I would say, if you can make that a reality, it doesn't matter how you do it. As long as like it's organizable, it's, you know, overviewable, then go ahead and do it. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. So how do you get clients for your consulting business? What is your main outreach method? So organic attraction. So I mainly just use social media. That's really it. And I do a variation of outbound and inbound, mainly outbound at the beginning, but now it's like 90% inbound. Because I don't do like outreach anymore. I more so focus, like at the beginning it was really like surviving, right? So what I did for my consulting business was really just focus 80% on like, you know, marketing and sales. So like, you know, doing outbound and also receiving inbound for what I can. And 20% like product, building out like my beta, right? And then right now it's just 80% like focusing on my service or product and 20% like on marketing and sales, right? For scalability. So hope that answers your question. And same thing, just join like your join niche specific Facebook groups, like, you know, on Facebook, whatever you're targeting, and connect with people, help people. All right, look into the law of reciprocity. I think like that really helps a lot of consultants when it comes down to attracting new clients. So yeah, and then I also had a few other questions on my main Facebook. So how do you overcome the negative self-talk when you are developing your niche and you keep thinking about the fact that you don't have any formal education, MBAs, etc. Sometimes my self-talk makes me feel like giving up on building my online business. Yeah, man. So when it comes down to that, like it's all mindset, right? It's that consistent loop of, you know, you repeating to yourself in your mind of like, I'm not worthy of, you know, helping people in my niche because I don't have an MBA. And every time you loop that and you repeat that, it gets like an ingrained belief, and that belief becomes your reality. And it's when you're going to start thinking, and it's going to reflect in your sales calls, it's going to reflect in your outreach. And therefore you have to be really careful what your input is going to be on that area of business, right? So be careful like what you seed your thoughts with. So I would say planting a new seed of that you are capable of getting clients to the end result, and that a lot of people don't have an MBA, or I don't even have like my college degree, right? That you don't need that, right? Make that your new input and erase that reference point of like, I don't have an MBA and therefore, you know, I'm not worthy of helping those people in my niche, right? It's just nonsense. That's why mindset is once again so important, guys. I have like a full module inside it in my course. It's so key. So yeah, guys, those are all the questions that came in, and I hope I helped most of you. If you know you need more context behind a certain question, because I know I didn't go super in depth, because like this video is almost like 30 minutes long with every single question. Some of them I did, but if you need more context behind like your question that you had, or like you're a viewer, you didn't ask a question, ask it down below. Would love to help you out. And yeah, guys, hope you got some great value out of this video, and I'll be seeing you in the next one.